Hello everyone. Today for our weaving class, you can see the things you will need. I gave you a Ziploc bag. You have 3 different yarns. I only have 2 because I'm not going to weave the whole thing in front of you. You should have a plastic needle. You're going to need some scissors. So this is what you're going to need today. The other thing you need is you probably are going to need a mom or a dad to kind of understand maybe some of the things that we're going to be doing. You might need their help. So the first thing I want to mention is this is just a piece of cardboard, and you'll see that there's, something on the back. Everyone's is different. I got these boxes. It's just like a box of cereal. You can make your own loom like this. If you wanted to, you just need a shape, rectangle, square, and then I did measurements here. These are 1/4 inch, and I just cut little slits, and then I can string my warp. This is the warp yarn around. So now these tails might get in your way. So you can see I taped this one down. So you might want to tape it down, okay? You're going to need the tails later, so don't cut them off, but you can just keep them, okay? Now, so that's just a little hint. You're going to be using the brown side for the weaving, not the colored side, okay? So this is the side you want to be looking at. Okay, so plastic needle. Hopefully, we're going to be using the plastic needle a lot, so don't lose it. Make sure you keep it in a safe place. And when the class is over, hopefully you can return it. That would be great. So you're going to have to decide which color yarn. I gave each of you 3 that you'd like to use. So the first thing you need to learn how to do is to thread your needle. There are 2 ways to thread the needle. So the obvious way is to take the yarn and stick it through the eye. The hole here is called an eye. And by the way, these are yarn needles. Therefore, sometimes people do what's called needlepoint. These are also for weaving. Okay, so now this can be a little tricky. You're going to stick it through, and the tricky part is that the yarn can split. So this piece of part of the yarn is not going through the eye. So what you want to do, and if that happens, something you can do is just cut off, because that now is kind of messed up and it's not going to work right. So what I do a lot of times is I kind of pinch it with my fingers, and then I stick it through. So it's kind of like I'm making it flat like the eye, so it will go through the eye. So I got it through. Okay, another way that you can do it is you take the needle, and I am holding it. I'm holding it by the eye of the needle. I take the needle and I put it over my needle, and now I pull down and I pinch it really tight. Then I pull it out on the needle side, and now I can just roll it in my eye really easily, especially because that's such a large eye. So doesn't matter which way, but those are 2 different ways you can thread your needle, and that's one of the things that you probably want mom or dad to see, so that if you have problems with it, they can help you. So the next thing I'm going to do, which this is not something you do if you're sewing, but we're not sewing, we are weaving. I tied a simple knot, which is just like the first kind of knot you would tie if you were tying your shoes. And it's loose, so it will come out, and it might just come out while I'm weaving, and that's okay. So now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start my weaving, and I am going to pull my thread, my yarn, until I get to the end of the yarn, and I want a tail hanging off here. I'm going to stick it up a little bit high, and then I am going to tie a knot. So I tied 1 knot just like I'm tying a shoe. That's the beginning of tying a shoe knot. I'm not tying a knot for a shoe. I'm going to do that exact same knot again, make a loop and stick it through, and I'm trying to pull it as tight as I can. Okay? And then I am going to cut off some of that thread. Okay, now I am ready to start my weaving. So, and that doesn't want to stay. And if you can weave this into your weaving, weave the little tails into your weaving, that is like the best thing. You kind of pretend it's a warp. But for now, I'm going to pretend that I went over. So that means this one is going to be under. Okay, so we are going to be doing the exact same pattern that we have done in the last two projects. Over, under, over, under, over, under. And you can see that my needle is helping me do this now, not just my fingers. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to gently push this up a little bit towards the top. Okay, this one is an under, so I'm going to go over, under, over, under, over, under. Now, you can literally say over, under, over, under, over, under, and that might help you not make any mistakes. When I was a little girl, I used to weave pot holders. So this is going to be over, under, over, under, over, under. I used to weave pot holders a lot, and I would make mistakes every so often. But kind of saying over, under, kind of helps. Okay, so now I'm going to pull that a little bit, and once you do it, you're pushing your yarn up. So this is going to be over again, over, under, over, under, over, under. So I've got my needle, I'm pulling it through, and then I get to here. Okay, I'm going to push it up. Now you'll notice that when I'm doing this, I'm going over again. I'm way down here. I'm not like trying to do it right up here. Because after I pull it through like this, you can see as I'm pulling it, I'm actually it's getting up there. And then I can take my finger. Now this is too loose. So I'm going to pull it a little bit tighter. Okay? And I'm just pushing gently my finger, so now they're all in a row. Over, under, over, under, over, under. Pulling it again. Now, so while you're doing this, one of the things, this is why you want this to be taped down, because it won't get stuck in your weaving. So one of the things you want to be concerned with is you don't want to be pulling so tight that your strings go in like this, and you don't want to make it so loose that you have loops coming out the sides. So you want to try to be consistent. Okay, notice I'm using my finger and I'm pushing it up, and then I am going to keep doing the same pattern. So you don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose. And then you're just going to keep going and going and going and going. So I'm going to keep going further, but I'm going to stop here because there's no reason for you to just keep watching me. Now, if you want to make this all one color, you can. We want it to be about 3 inches. So I want it to go down about 3 inches. So you could use a ruler to help you know, but it's going to be about that much. There's no reason for you to sit here and watch me do the whole thing. By the way, this is going to be a 2-week project. So we're going to work on this week. You want to get this down to here. Next week, I will show you how to get it off the loom. Okay? But just get your weaving done. And then next week, I will show you what else we're going to do. We're going to turn these into bookmarks. So now, you might have also seen that my yarn came off my needle. I didn't sit and cry. I just rethreaded it. So, oh, I shouldn't have taken that off. So, I am going to show you how to switch yarn if you would like to switch yarn. So now Oh, and I forgot to weave that in. Rats. So I am going to, once again, just tie like a shoe knot right here. And I'm going to do one more. Uh-oh. Didn't go. Okay, so now I can just, the nice thing is this is yarn, big needles, and I can just go backwards. So when I tie my shoe knot, I want to make sure that I'm tying it around the warp string. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm actually going to leave a larger tail this time because I want to try to weave that in right here. So I'm done with the pink. If I were you, I would definitely use your pink longer. Okay, so I'm going to switch yarn. Okay. And I am going to go like that. I'm going to tie my knot again on my yarn. Okay, so now to change colors, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a knot. I'm going to do it on this side this time. Put it under like that. Pull it to a little ways so I have a little bit of a tail. I'm going to stick it in like that, pull it tight, do another one just like I'm tying my shoe but not the bow part, and now I've got that. And I'm going to leave this tail long like this, and hopefully I can show you how to weave those in. So this one is under, so this one is going to be over. Nope, I'm sorry, this one is under, so this one's going to be over. Under, over, under, over. Okay. Okay, so I'm pulling it like that. Okay, now I want to tuck this one in here, and this side is under, over, under, over, under, over. And you can see what I'm doing here is I'm kind of locking this one in here. And I want to do the same thing with this side, with this one. So this one is under, so that means this one is going to be over, and there's my little extra guy. Under, over. Okay, now I'm going to remember to not pull too tight, push it up. This goes under, over, under, over, under. Okay, and you can see that I am locking this pink one in right here. So I would probably do 2 or 3 more, so it was coming down to about here, and then I would take and cut this off. Okay, same thing here. Do a few more down and then cut the tails, but keep doing this. And I actually would probably try to do more with these colors, not just this little bit. Okay, so hopefully you can figure that out. If you need mom and dad to watch the video, make sure you have them watch the video to help you with a few of those tying things and how to weave your tails in. Remember, we want about 3 inches. About 3 inches. We're going to be making these into bookmarks, and I will show you next week how to get this off the loom, how to finish this project, and we're going to start a new project next week. Okay, have fun weaving.